Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating breakthrough in educational technology called EduGuard. We are going to explore exactly how this system navigates one of the trickiest tightropes in modern education. It leverages incredibly powerful artificial intelligence to identify and help struggling students, all while maintaining absolute, ironclad strictness over their data privacy. It's a brilliant case study in systemic problem solving, so let's just dive right in.
Now, you might be wondering about the central dilemma facing school administrators, counselors, and edtech developers today. On one hand, we know AI is absolutely incredible. It's spotting patterns, like a student whose grades and attendance are quietly slipping. But on the other hand, student data is incredibly sensitive and highly protected by law. Feeding raw student files into a cloud-based AI model, that's a massive compliance risk. So the question we have to answer is, how in the world do we get the incredible insights of AI without exposing the sensitive data that actually feeds it?
Enter EduGuard. This system was built specifically to be the definitive solution to that exact privacy and intervention challenge. It's an intelligent student monitoring and early intervention routing system. But, it's not just a basic database. It's a multi-agent AI architecture that pulls from fragmented systems, analyzes the data, and securely drafts action plans for counselors, all while enforcing some very strict legal guardrails. We're going to look at exactly how it does this, step by step.
Section 1. A Day in the Life, Identifying the Invisible Cracks.
Let's meet Marcus Vance. He's a 9th grade student. Now, if you just look at one single piece of paper, Marcus might actually seem totally fine. But Marcus is actually struggling, and those struggles are completely hidden because the clues are scattered across different, disconnected school systems. Without a unified view, the stakes for Marcus are incredibly high. He is exactly the type of student who quietly slips through the cracks until it's just too late to easily course correct. When a counselor logs into the main EduGuard dashboard, Marcus Vance is flagged immediately in the student directory as high risk. He's got 2 absences and 1 tardy. What's so brilliant here is how the interface directly alerts the counselor to Marcus's status without completely overwhelming them with the wall of raw, unstructured data. It's clean, it's actionable, and it brings his urgent needs right to the surface.
But why was Marcus flying under the radar to begin with? Well, it's the classic fragmentation problem. Typically, schools use a Student Information System, or SIS, to hold attendance. Then, they use a totally separate learning management system, an LMS, to track grades and assignments. And then, yet another platform entirely to log special education accommodations. Counselors usually need about 5 different passwords and a whole lot of coffee just to piece together a single student's profile from these siloed databases. EduGuard essentially bridges all of these isolated islands of data.
Section 2. The Digital Task Force, EduGuard's multi-agent architecture.
EduGuard doesn't just use one massive AI brain. It uses a multi-agent workflow orchestrated by the Google Anchor Agent Gateway. You've got an active agent registry featuring the Attendance Anomaly Agent, the IEP Compliance Agent, and the Intervention Routing Agent. Each one has a very specific, highly focused job, and they talk to one another through that central gateway.
Think of these agents like highly specialized detectives. The Attendance Anomaly Agent scans SIS records for absences and tardies. Then, it contrasts that with LMS data, like grades dropping below 70% or late submissions. Meanwhile, the IEP Compliance Agent checks special ed records to verify if accommodations, like extended test time, are actually being delivered to the student. By combining these different domains, the system builds a really comprehensive, multi-dimensional risk metric for kids like Marcus.
Once those agents gather all the clues, the Intervention Routing Agent synthesizes all these findings right in the Counselor Action Center. Using large language models like Gemini or GPT, it actually drafts a structured support plan right there in the inbox. It tells the counselor, hey, here is the academic drop-off, here is the attendance drop, and here is a recommended plan. But wait, if it's using an LLM to generate this text, what about privacy?
Section 3. The Invisible Shield, Protecting Student Data. If you work in education, you already know the giant hurdle in all of this is FERPA, protecting personally identifiable information. Things like dates of birth, guardian names, phone numbers, and email addresses carries heavy legal and ethical weight. Keeping this student data secure isn't just a best practice, it is a strict, non-negotiable federal requirement.
Take a look at Marcus Vance's raw records from the Cloud SQL database. Look closely at the details, his exact date of birth, his guardian's name, Sarah Vance, and a direct email address. This is incredibly sensitive, PII-heavy data. This is exactly the kind of information that absolutely cannot be leaked to an external AI model without causing massive compliance violations.
And here is the absolute aha moment.
When the AI generates the support plan draft, it doesn't just spit out Marcus's sensitive data. Vertex AI Model Armor acts as a powerful interceptor. Notice how specific sensitive details are completely stripped out and replaced with tags like redacted student name. The AI is allowed to analyze the root causes, like the attendance drops or missed accommodations, but Model Armor mathematically ensures that no personal identifiers ever exit the secure database zone during the generation process. It's a fully FERPA-compliant output.
Section 4. Under the hood, tracing the AI's logic.
To prove all this is working exactly as intended, EduGuard uses something called OpenTelemetry to emit a structured step-by-step execution trace. First, the gateway receives the route request. Second, the agents evaluate the SISS and LMS data. Third, and this is crucial, Model Armor executes the PII redaction. Finally, the LLM drafts the plan. Because this entire relationship between the agents is logged visually, administrators have total transparency and can verify the system's reliability at any given moment.
And check out this incredibly impressive number in the system logs, 7.51. That is the latency, in milliseconds, for the Model Armor PIA reduction to complete. 7.51 milliseconds. This proves that you literally do not have to sacrifice speed for security. The interceptor scrubs the data almost instantaneously, which keeps the workflow completely seamless for the counselor.
Section 5. The future of intervention, empowering counselors. This brings us to what we call the authorized rehydration flow, which brilliantly highlights the human-in-the-loop design of EduGuard. The counselor reviews the redacted draft in their inbox, they use their professional judgment to verify its safety and accuracy, then they simply click a button that says Approve and Restore PII. Because the counselor is fully authorized within the secure environment, the system safely rehydrates the student's actual name and guardian data back into the text so the counselor can take immediate action. The AI does the heavy lifting, but the human remains firmly in control.
Which leads us with this final thought to consider. We have seen how fragmented data leaves students behind, and how multi-agent AI can connect those scattered dots. But more importantly, we've seen how tools like Vertex AI Model Armor can protect a student's most sensitive information in the process. As AI completely reshapes EdTech, the technology to do this securely is already here. So the question is your environment ready to balance intelligent, life-changing intervention with unbreakable data security? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I hope it gave you a crystal clear picture of the future of student support.